Hello, everybody. Bobby Wisnan here. I want to welcome you to my words of wisdom. Today, episode 3, turning stress and anxiety into power. Oh, man, it's a good one. Look, we're going to go much further than just managing stress and anxiety. That is not enough. You need something more. You need something powerful, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to show you how to use stress and anxiety to your advantage, how to use it to become powerful. How about that? That's different. Oh man, we're going to turn the table. How am I going to do it? I'm going to start by giving you the 2 most important, most essential things that you've got to do in your mind the moment you face a stressful situation or an anxious situation or that old anxiety comes creeping back in, okay? Next, I'm going to tell you a personal story of, one of the most stressful times I had at a speaking event where I was speaking. I'm going to tell you what happened, but more importantly, I'm going to tell you how I turned the tables to use it to my advantage. You're going to love the outcome. Lastly, I'm going to read a quote and lesson from my 7 books of wisdom. You're going to love it. Well, let's do this. Let's get going. Number 1, here we go. The 2 biggest things, the most essential things that you need to do with stress and anxiety. Here we go. Number 1, open that mind. You got to let this sink in. The first thing you've got to do is stop calling it stress management. We got to stop doing that and call it what it really is. It's self-management. Yes. Let me tell you why. There are a lot of situations in life that are going to drop upon us. We're not going to see it coming. There's no way we could manage it because it popped out of nowhere. Think about your relationships, both personal and business. How about your career? Yeah. What about your finances? Oh my gosh, yes. And then, one we all know too well, our health. There are situations, stressful situations, that pop up out of nowhere that we had no control over whatsoever. There are some stresses we can manage, but there are a lot of them that we can't. But what is one thing we can always manage, no matter what the stressful situation is? Our reaction to it. Our reaction to it. How do we respond? That's what happens. See, that's where it starts going awry, is we start trying to manage something that can't be managed. Reaction. That's what we're going to concentrate on. Okay? So self-management, not stress management. Self-management. You got me? Okay, number 2. The second biggest thing. We have to get our plan. We have to put it in immediate action. The moment this stress pops up, or this anxiety that's trying to creep back in, we have to take immediate action. That's the second thing. Immediate action. Don't let things stack up. Don't sweep it under the rug. No, it's going to build up. It's going to grow. Immediate action. How do we do that? Okay. You look at the stress that you're facing or the anxiety that you're experiencing, and you look at the reality of it. Right? What's really going on? Here's what we do. Is we make things seem a lot worse than they are. Why? Well, because we start ruminating about it. We start repeatedly thinking the same situation over and over and over, thinking we're coming up with a remedy, right? We're coming up with an answer, and we're digging ourselves deeper into stress and anxiety. What's really going on? It's typically not as bad as we make it out to be. We start doing the what ifs and oh my goshes and oh, what if this happens and oh my life, oh this is crazy, this is going to go on and on and on. We make it worse. So, number 1, we look at the reality. What's really happening? Has it happened before? What was the outcome of that? Right? Okay, so the reality, write it down. Okay? Number 2, we got to make a list of the things we need to do. If there's a stressful situation, okay, well, how are we going to handle it? Let's take action. We're going to do these 5 things. Write down is there somebody I need to talk to? Do I need to look for a different job? Do I need to have a talk with my significant other? Do I have a friend I need to have a conversation, maybe a coworker? That's a list of things I need to do. You need to make that list immediately. Number 3, and these are all things how you put into immediate, how you start managing yourself, right? Immediacy. Number 3, ask for help. Talk to someone. You don't have to ask for help, but run your situation by someone, a friend, a family member, someone you trust. Chances are, man, they're probably going to have some good advice. They may have experienced the same thing, okay? Talk to somebody, right? Journal what you want to talk about. That's another, I try to tell people all the time, journal, journal, journal. Write it down. It's therapy. It's good stuff for you. The next thing, understand that there's going to need to be change. Yeah, especially if it's one of those repeated stresses or repeated anxieties. Something needs to change in your mindset or in your lifestyle. We've got to change it. So expect change, right? And it may not happen immediately. You may not see the results immediately, but stick with it. And that leads me to the next thing you've got to do. Recognize success. Yes. It's easy to get hung up on what we haven't done and neglect to think about or recognize what we have done. That's the stuff we do. We focus on the negativity. We put failure on a pedestal a lot of times, and we put stress and anxiety on a pedestal too, because we spend a lot of our mental effort, our mental, emotional energy thinking about all that. Reaction. How do we react? That's what we got to concentrate on. Change is a big part of that. So you got to be willing to change. You got to look for things you need to change. The last thing, and I just mentioned this, recognize the success. Make a list of the things you have done, right? Even if you start managing reaction to something, or you make that list, and let's say you make a list of 6 things that you need to get done, and you only get 2 of them done, where you're going to think to yourself, oh, wow, I only got 2. I got 4 more to go. Well, you got 2. You got 2 of them done. Yeah, I need to keep working on this, but I did get it started, and feed that momentum. Keep it going. Remember, handle this stuff immediately. Write it down. Get help. Do these things and get this thing off your plate. It's the only way to handle it. Reaction. You're managing yourself, your emotions. It's wonderful. It's powerful. You'll get it. Let me tell you what I did. This is a story. This happened to me. Wow. I went to a speaking event. There were about 3 or 4 different speakers. I was the last speaker. 1,500 people. I go and sit in the front row. I'm right beside the event coordinator, and she's stressed out like crazy. And I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, this guy's 25 minutes over. 25 minutes. At the end of the day, when he finished, half of the audience got up and started, they weren't walking out. They were getting out of there. They were on their horse. They were getting out of that auditorium. And I'm up there, and she's trying to introduce me, and my PowerPoint's not even up. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I started really getting full of anxiety, and my stress was through it. My ears were getting red. I could feel them. And I thought, okay, I know what to do. I ran out, went up the side, got outside, and I said, hey, I got something to say. I'm your next speaker. I say, I want 5 minutes. Is 5 minutes worth you learning how to live your best life? Is it worth coming back in here and giving me 5 minutes? If I don't do it in 5 minutes, I'm going to walk out with you. How's that? Well, I got about probably 80% of them to come back in, and man, they didn't sit down. They're standing back there. They got their arms crossed. They got their hands on their hips. They're probably looking at their watches. They're going to give me 5 minutes, if that long, but I got them. I hit them where it counted. And guess what happened? They stayed. And I went a lot further than just finishing the presentation. They asked me to speak more. The event coordinator said they want to hear more. They gave me 25. I went 25 minutes over, and I kept them. Why? Because when I faced that stressful situation, I took it upon myself, and I acted immediately, and I reacted. I managed my reaction to the stress instead of sitting there watching all those people leave and getting worked up and giving a presentation to half the people. No. I managed myself, and I put it into immediate action. That's what you have to do if you want to get a handle on your stress and anxiety. You got me? I'm going to read a lesson to you. This is book 2, Turning Anxiety into Power. It's awesome. This is lesson 1. Here's your quote. I love these quotes. They're all mine. And by the way, these 7 books of wisdom, these are all part of my 7 pillars of power. That's my course on motivation. There's videos, there's books, there's 7 creeds of freedom. There's a quick start guide that teaches you how to do them in 90 days. There's 365 quotes in this book with lessons for each one. If you want to see them, you go to 7pillarsofpower.com/go. It's the number 7, pillarsofpower.com/go. Here's your quote. The biggest battle with stress takes place between our ears. We either think ourselves into a corner or we answer the bell and fight. Yeah, that's what we do. Okay, here's the reality. So each quote has a reality, a plan, and an action. It's 3 to 4 minutes. Isn't that something? Here's the reality. Stress is a certainty in our lives, but it's ultimately in our hands how much effect it has on us. Yeah. You know how it happens too. A stressful situation pops up and it negatively consumes most of our thoughts if we don't come up with an answer of relief. Rumination. We then do one of 2 things. We either think ourselves into a seemingly impossible outcome, or we develop a plan to eliminate the threat. It's when we choose to meet stress head on and kick it to the side where we gain control and win. I love that word, win. Let's go win this thing. The plan, okay? And here's your plan. Here's how you apply it. The best advice I can give you is not to let things stack upon you. Stress is good at this if you let it have its way. Yeah. Make a list of things you need to get done. Keep this list in front of you and start checking things off. Recognize success, remember? Be willing to adapt and learn new ways to solve problems when they come up, because plan A is usually a warm-up for plan B, C, and D. Change, right? Lastly, don't be afraid to ask for help or an opinion on handling a stressful situation, because chances are someone you know has experienced the same thing in their past and can offer an excellent remedy. That's so true. When stress rings the bell, answer it and fight. You're much stronger than you think. Fight, but fight smarter and fight better. You're far more capable than you know. Here's the action. It's simple. Every lesson has the reality, a plan, and the action. You do one little thing. Look, I'm going to do it with you right now. Take time today and write one stress you have. And with it, start your list by writing the first thing you can do today to begin putting fear in its place. Okay. Again, take time today, write one stress you have, and with it, start your list by writing the first thing you can do today to begin putting fear in its place. So one stress I have is, and to start my list, the first thing I can do today to manage this stress is, you just created a catalyst. You stopped trying to, per this lesson, you stopped trying to manage things that can't be managed, and you started managing something that you can always manage, your reaction to it. Remember, it's not stress management, right? You know what it is. Self-management. Always look at stress and anxiety as managing your reaction, managing yourself, okay? And put it into immediate action. Look at the reality. Make a list. Ask for help. Talk to someone. Be willing to change. Be ready for change. You're going to need to change something. And recognize success. Always recognize. Don't get stuck on what you haven't done. Keep that in your mind, but also even the playing field. Give yourself credit for what you have done. You got me? Look, stress and anxiety are a part of life. They really are. And a lot of people they have a really tough time with it. But no matter what your level of stress and anxiety may be, if you start with these 2, if you start with what I'm teaching you here, and even if you have 7 Pillars of Power that gets a lot more in depth with everything. There's videos, I'm coaching you, I'm walking you through. You're going to be successful. You're going to start using stress and anxiety to your advantage. Now, how powerful would you be? Can you be? Will you be if you get that thing down? Look, I'm going to leave you with a quote. It's one of my favorite. It's on stress. And here it is. Stress is like an 18-wheeler. It's big, powerful, and intimidating. But it can't hurt you if no one is driving it. Stop giving the keys to stress and anxiety and control your life. If you want to see more about me, like I said, I've got a whole course on motivation. It's 7pillarsofpower.com/go. Again, it's the number 7, pillarsofpower.com/go. Until next time, I'm Bobby Wisnan. Thanks for listening.